Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a big day in Philadelphia sports. I mean, God, Sean, sometimes this time of year, I feel like it could be not a struggle to find things to talk about, but you know how it is. When football season ends, you got that little bit of a lull. It's only, you got what, regular season NBA, regular season NHL. Of course, we had the combine. NFL free agency tampering period starts next week, so that's big. But two monster stories in Philly sports today. Well, I'll go with the one that broke first, I guess, was the Philadelphia Phillies signing Zach Wheeler to a 3-year extension. What was it? 1 to 3 years? What, 126, Sean? I think it averages 42 a year.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So 42 a year for Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is now signed through, let's see, so 25, 26, 27. Zach Wheeler is signed through 2027. So it basically keeps this core intact for the Phillies. I mean, you look at the Phillies core, all these guys are going to be together for the next 2, 3, 4 years. You've got Wheeler and Nola signed. And then of course there's rumors out there. The Phillies may have interest in a Blake Snell, on a short-term deal, maybe a Jordan Montgomery. So we'll see what happens with that. And then of course the Sixers with a big win yesterday. I wanted to touch on that. The Flyers, had a tough game Friday night, but a big bounce back on Saturday. They barely held on against Ottawa, but held on they did.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that the biggest news happened at 1:00 this afternoon. One of the
right here.
One of the all-time great Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, Jason Kelce. Obviously future first ballot Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
Not one of the best centers in the history of National Football League. But not just that, but just seems like just an awesome ass dude. I mean, by pretty much every account. I mean, I've never met a person that has anything bad to say about Jason Kelce.
Yeah, he's a people person. It seems like, I think if you bump into him in the public, he's just gonna acknowledge you and not give you the cold shoulder.
Yeah,
and his thing, his little speech, kind of hits a true Philadelphia fan right where it hurts, But he spoke from the heart, and his ups and downs and how he loves the city, So
yeah, I got to be honest. I mean, his Super Bowl speech was just
epic.
It was epic, but this one today, I mean, I myself was a little choked up, kind of, because I just love the way he did it. I mean, the guy, just starting out. I mean, he goes into being a 12-year-old boy. His first. I mean, first off, he was so emotional, he had a hard time getting it out. You know what I mean? But the guy goes into being a 12-year-old boy playing football for the first time. Being on that grass. And he even named the kid that he was playing against, which, I mean, Sean, you played football. You could take yourself back to those moments.
That's exactly how I felt. You remember your first play.
Yeah.
The first hit, whether you hit them, you fall down. I mean, I remember it all because it was me and my cousin, But everything, like you said, Joe, in that speech hit home. And if you didn't get teary-eye, I don't know what else to say. He praised Stoutland, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Stoutland seems like you don't know the guy Stoutland, but just by him explaining him and what he's done for him, you kind of got to know him better,
Oh, yeah. And then, even going into University of Cincinnati, I mean, first off, I mean, you look at a guy in Jason Kelce, he becomes one of the greatest centers of all time.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I believe he was a walk-on,
Yes, he was. Yeah.
Yeah. So he, he had to earn everything he had. He broke, I forget the guy's name, but he brought up how University of Cincinnati moved him to offensive line, changed his career. So they had a big part in his development. Then he comes to Philadelphia, and Andy Reid drafts him. Howard Mudd sees something in him, and Sean, a lot of things about football. I mean, it's it could be the style of play of a team, like the way the Eagles ran the offensive line. They wanted an athletic center, and Jason Kelce fit the bill. I mean, I have right here. I think the kid. It's actually ironic. I forget the kid's name, but Jason Kelce's record for like the 3-cone or something stood all the way until like this weekend. I think the guy's name was,
the kid from
Wisconsin, right? Wasn't it Wisconsin?
I'm not gonna. I don't know his first name. Berlatoni.
Okay.
Kevin Cone drill. Wisconsin, right, like you said, and that record, like you said, Joe, was held by Kelce, and yesterday it was broke by this kid. And who knows? Maybe some fate we draft him or the kid Jackson Power from Oregon. But we'll talk about that. But yeah, it hit a lot of stuff, like you said.
Yeah, and so how about this? You got a kid that's walk on, becomes a unbelievable, one of the best centers ever to play. And it's ironic because, Tom Brady, 6th-round pick. I think Tom Brady was 199, I think.
Yes, he was.
Like
absolutely.
Right. So
yes.
I'm looking here. Jason Kelce, 2011 draft, 191st pick, 191st pick overall. All right. Then you got, and you look at his accolades. I mean, first Eagles rookie to start 16. First Eagles rookie. I mean, he comes right in the league, starts 16 games right off the bat. 16 games as a center. He also had the fastest 40 for a center at the combine at the time, 4.89 seconds. So just like I said, but getting back to the speech, I mean, just the way he did it. I mean, he went into the story of his career. Like I said, he starts off with being a little boy, goes into high school, goes into Cincinnati. The Eagles part, and it just yeah, I mean, and I remember like 2015, 2016. I mean, a lot of people, I think 2014, I think he got hurt. I think he missed like 2 or 3 games, and I remember. Yeah. I remember that time. Some people saying, "Hey, is Kelce a little small?" And people were talking about getting rid of him. And Stoutland comes in, and since that point, I mean, the guy made 4 or 5 Pro Bowls, all pro teams, all kinds of stuff.
Worked on his hand technique with them, his footwork. It resonates a lot. The guy, like you said, Joe, he was undersized, and even Kelce said he had his rough moments of being off sides, and he even said in the speech, I would have traded myself for the 2 washers if the Eagles wanted to trade me for, but he just has that perseverance. Like for any kid out there, like if you can't do it, anything I can do better,
Yeah.
And it's awesome. So
yeah, it was. I got it. And to show the guy's impact. I mean, this will put it in perspective. I mean, Paul, we got a comment here. My man Paul Spencer. Now Paul's a diehard Dallas fan, but this just goes to show you, the impact that a guy like Kelce makes in the whole National Football League. He goes, bro, me, I can't stand the Eagles, but I shed a tear. He's a man of the people. Mad respect for this dude, my favorite Eagle, and that tells you all you need to know right there when you're when fans of your opponents, recognize, hey, you know what? I may hate like in Paul's case, hey, he may hate the Eagles, but Jason Kelce, good ass dude, great ass player. You know what I'm saying? And then
just like fantasy football girl advice, exactly like I said,
Jackson Calvert Johnson,
6'3", 293, a true center. Like we'll talk later. Where does Juergens go? He did have a great season at guard. Do we keep him at guard or do we put him at center? I mean, Stoutland, you will figure it out, but I know they're in good hands. So
right. So so obviously, I mean, we could pretty much spend this whole show praising Jason Kelce, but I mean, we do. Hey, I mean, we do have free agency coming up next week. We just had the combine. There is a season coming up, hey, as much fans as we are of Kelce as a dude and as a player, I mean, Philadelphia Eagles must go on. So, like you said, the guy from Oregon, Jackson Power Johnson, would be nice. But 2 years ago, the Eagles drafted Cam Jurgens, who Kelce helped scout, and he kind of Kelce had been helping the Eagles scout centers for about a 2-3 year stretch. He said that Cam Jurgens was the guy that closest resembled himself. So, I mean, here's a thought. I kind of think maybe Cam Jurgens does move to center. And what's ironic, Sean? You know who's a free agent who plays right guard? John. All right, John Runyon Jr.
I just was going to say, yeah, who trains with Lane Johnson at the Bro Barn? Absolutely, and he's 26.
Yeah, so here's a possible marriage. Now I was looking at like free agent possibilities, and John Runyon Jr. Kind of stood out. I mean, of course, his pops played here a long time. He's from the area, like you said. He trains with Lane Johnson. So if you do move Jurgens to center, John Runyon Jr. Could play right guard, and I think the contract he's projected to get is something like a 3-year, $20 million, something like that. What's that, about a little less than $7 a year?
Pretty much, yeah.
So if you were to bring him in, it doesn't necessarily preclude you from drafting, because this draft is really deep in O-line. Like Lane, I think Lane Johnson probably said, I think he said he was going to take about another 2 years.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked. And you did draft Steen last year too. That's another thing to keep in mind. Alex Steen, I mean, he was a 3rd round pick from Alabama.
Yes. And we do have some solid guys on our practice squad. I don't know all of their names, but I mean, we're pretty stacked with O-linemen.
Yeah, here's Paul Spencer with a comment here. He said, "Would you take a flyer on Tyler Baez? I don't know how to say his name. Baez, free agent center from Dallas, very cheap, or Landon Dickerson back to the normal spot at Bama? I think Dickerson's playing at such a level at guard. I don't think you move Dickerson. I think Jurgens would be the guy you move, or if you love the kid from Oregon, or if you love another center, then you keep Jurgens at right guard. And you know what? If nothing else, if they did draft a center or bring another center in, I mean, boy, the versatility they'd have on this offensive line would be unreal, Sean. I mean, you would have basically 3 guys that could play center. You could have Dickerson in a pinch, Jurgens, and then if you signed or drafted another guy, that'd be 3 guys that could cross train if you have injuries and play either guard or center. That's how football goes, Sean. I mean, that's huge, man.
That's why we're number 1 in our offensive line, and Jeff Stoutland just knows the players to draft. And just like yesterday, I'm watching the combine, you could see how he looked at certain players and guided them like he's guided his O-line. And I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, Joe, that we do possibly get somebody in the drafts from in the college. So,
I was looking. Reports are that this draft for O-line is like the best in years. I mean, there's like I forget what I read. It was like, I think there was about 9 or 10 guys that could arguably be first-day picks. Okay, maybe even more. So the bottom line
there's more. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Right. So the bottom line is, I mean, you may get a guy in like the 3rd round. Like, say you're in the 3rd round, you may be able to get yourself a guard or a center in the 3rd round that in other years would have been like a late 1st, early 2nd round pick, just because of the depth of this offensive line group.
Well, there's 2 guys that I like real quick that are probably 2nd or 3rd rounders. A guy Barrington from Baylor. He's versatile. He's a guard / center. They want to move him to center. And Rouse from Oklahoma, Lane Johnson's college. I mean, both big boys, country boys, and so just remember those names. Hopefully we get 1 or 2 of them, But
one thing, what I think, it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit if the Eagles spend on free agency on the defensive side of the ball, because the Eagles have a lot of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I could see. I think the Eagles, there's rumors out there, maybe C.J. Gardner-Johnson coming back.
Yes, I heard that.
Maybe they make a trade. Denver's got some salary cap issues, and they're kind of rebuilding. I mean, Denver just cut Russell Wilson this afternoon.
Yes.
So a guy like Justin Simmons, he played under Fangio. Maybe he comes in. You got the linebacker. We'll see what happens with Hassan Reddick.
You got Van Ginkel. You have
right.
A linebacker from the Titans that has a friendship who got coached by the Tennessee Titans linebacker, who's our linebacker coach now,
Right. You got a kid, I think his name's Jolly from Denver. He played under Fangio in Denver. So, I could see – I think Howie's going to target guys that are like 25, 26, 27 years old, like a la 2016 when he went out and got like a Rodney McLeod. You know what I mean? Like, remember 2016, they went out and got Rodney McLeod. You could see a guy – somebody that's in that age range, bringing somebody like that in, to because this defense needs a lot of help. You know what I mean?
They definitely linebacker. We need to, like we always talk, we're like broken records. They really need to break the cycle. I personally like a lot of the rookie linebackers. You don't necessarily have to draft one of them in the first round, because obviously, like you said earlier, we have a lot of needs on this defense. I want this defense to get back to where it was, not struggle. The team has no identity, no leadership. And you got to sign Hassan Reddick. He spoke his mind. Don't trade him to the rivals of Cowboys and shit like that. Keep him here. The guy's produced every year in and year out, every team, double-digit sacks. What more do you want?
Yeah, well, speaking of somebody I'm going to add my man, Mr. 6 for 6, Diego DiBianchi, to the show. What's up, Diego? How you doing, bro?
What's up, guys? What's going on? My bad, I'm a little late. My bad.
It's all good. We were just going over obviously Jason Kelce, what a great speech he gave today, and what a great career. And now we're kind of getting into like how they're going to replace him, and now we're just looking into like free agency, like what I was saying that I think Howie's going to spend on the defensive end, and they're going to and maybe they may draft at least one, maybe even two offensive linemen, just because of how deep this draft is for O-line.
Well, they're definitely going to have to draft another lineman now. I mean, maybe not early on, because I think we have to concentrate on defense. We have more holes on defense, but definitely going to have to start considering either signing a free agent offensive lineman or drafting one maybe third, fourth round.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Like we said, they're very deep in the O-line, but Joey brought up a good point. John Runyon's son, he's a free agent, 26. Knows his team. His dad played. I'm all for it. Like Joey said, sign him.
Yeah, he's and the thing about him too is like, he's already got 50 some starts and under his belt. So it's not like you're bringing in somebody that doesn't have any experience. Now the only knock on him is he had this past year he had about 6 penalties. He had like a few holding penalties, and he had like 3 pre-snap penalties, which that makes me a little nervous, especially when you're on the road, because is he one of these guys that's going to flinch? Say you're in a big 3rd and 5 and you're on the road, is he going to be the guy that flinches and screws your drive up, makes it like a 3rd and 10? You know what I mean? But that could happen to anybody. That could happen to a rookie too. You know what I mean? So
that's what practice.
Well, that's why you come here and you learn from the best offensive lineman coach in the league. So he makes you better.
I think Stout would, like you said, Joey, I think he would help him with that false start and pre-snaps. It gets no better. And where it all starts is in practice. Get those jitters and your problems in practice instead of game time. But yeah.
Right. And like you said, he worked he already works out with Lane Johnson, and if he comes to play right guard right next to Lane Johnson,
there you go.
He's learned. I mean, Lane Johnson's arguably the best right tackle in football.
True.
Still, so you're going to learn from the best. You know what I mean?
Couldn't agree more.
So, but yeah, I mean, like we were saying, I mean, next week free agency starts. So I'm looking here. I would love to see. I think one thing the Eagles really need more than like anything else. I mean, obviously they need talent, but
yes.
you guys saw it this past year. I mean, this defense just needs an attitude adjustment. I mean, how soft were we on defense this year? Like,
well, that's our coaching. Our coaches had no identity.
Right.
Their defense had no identity. We need some coaching. Someone with like a little bit of attitude back there, screaming at some players. You know what I'm saying?
We need a guy like you said. There's no identity. Like a guy like Dawkins, the voice to get in your ass and get the defense to where it needs to be. Not no pity patter. Make everybody accountable. But there's no voice, like you said. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, we have Fangio now. Maybe Fangio is not the best defensive coordinator, but he definitely has an identity in this league already. And he knows what he wants to do, and he knows what guys he wants to play in that position. So
he's old school, Diego. So the knock on him, I think, if you didn't read the thing, a lot of players didn't like it. Oh, boo-hoo. You didn't like it? Well, sorry. You're not going to be pampered.
Nah, they need some tough coaching right now.
Yeah. And a lot of guys were bitching and moaning about that.
Here's Paul Spencer with a couple names, and I have a name too, Sean. You probably saw this guy too, but here's Paul Spencer's names. He says, I think the best linebacker is Edgerrin Cooper from A&M. That kid can really play. Trotter Jr., of course, we like because he's Jeremiah Trotter's son, plus he can play. Or invest in Patrick Queen and free agency. Patrick Queen, I love him as a player, but I don't see the Eagles paying that much to the linebacker position, especially when you can draft a guy. No, Sean, guys, who I loved? I was watching the combine the other day. I think his name is Peyton Willis from NC State.
I told you about him. Yep.
I'll tell you what, that kid, man, he had the fastest time as a linebacker.
Was it the kid that ran a 4.47 or something like that?
4.4.
He can fly, man, and he models his game after Luke Kuechly. Like when I saw that, I was like, dude, I like that kid, man.
They said he's like, he can do sideline to sideline like Fred Warner.
We
need something like that.
Yeah.
Not only that, but just like up the Paul. Like if I had to rank linebackers, we'll do that for another time. I love the dude Edgerrin Cooper, Peyton Wilson. I mean, they both are what we need and desire for this defense, and especially the linebacking core.
Well, how you just said, Joe, like identity. I always feel like when you look at these great defenses, their linebackers are always the one that set the tone. They're the identity of that defense. Ray Lewis, like Fred Warner on San Fran.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Patrick Willis, all them Steelers linebackers. Like the attitude always comes from that linebacker. Because he's like the middle linebacker is like a quarterback on defense,
Yeah. Even our defense back with Jim Johnson, like how many games did the Axeman come in there and blitz or make a great play? And then he's sitting there doing the axe and the whole crowd's getting jacked.
Exactly, Jeremiah. The problem is I think the Eagles are going to convince themselves that Kobe Dean's still that.
Yeah, I don't think they can.
This year it's put up or shut up, like you said, for him.
I think he's trash, to tell you the truth, but I think they're going to convince themselves that he's that guy, so they might wait to draft linebacker or find a guy like on a 1-year deal or something like that and draft other positions.
Well, see, we're going to go to a 34, so or at least they probably are going to 34. So I would see for me. I'd like to take a linebacker, at one of these guys in second or third. We have 2 second-round picks. I'd really like to get a linebacker with one of those picks, one of these kids. Take one of these kids. Maybe you bring in a veteran. I don't want to bank on the Kobe Dean, but let's keep it real. The Eagles probably are. So if you could take one of these kids, he takes up one of the spots, right? Then you have Nakobe Dean, who I don't really believe in. Well, maybe you sign a linebacker, a decent veteran with like like a Kaiser White type guy from a few years ago. You know what I'm saying? You bring in a veteran that at least if Nakobe Dean doesn't pan out, you're better than like Nicholas Morrow last year. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Or Cunningham. All them linebackers sucked last year.
Yeah, like you definitely got to cover your backside because the linebacker play we had last year was just, I mean, it was just terrible. It was hideous.
Yeah.
I like this guy too. But I think he's going to be a special teams guy too. Paul Spencer, late round, Maris, Lufal, Notre Dame. This kid flies, fits that lunch pail mentality. Yeah, I'd be cool with getting him late, but the Eagles need more. The Eagles need a linebacker that's going to come in and play. Like I'd be cool with taking him late and having him like come in, compete, and be a core special teams guy. But we need a guy that's going to play on. We need a guy that's going to make tackles on the field.
Yeah, we need a difference maker in the middle of that field.
Yeah,
that was clear last year. We had no answer to stop anybody coming across the middle, running this little screen plays, nothing like that. That's when we thought we got Shaq Leonard. We're like, all right, he's going to do that. He didn't do shit.
Yeah, well, and all that other stuff, so. But yeah.
Shaq Leonard was done. It reminded me of when It reminded me of when Charles Barkley said, I asked them to draft Shaq, and they signed Charles Shackelford.
Yeah, he sucks.
I was going to say this Shaq Leonard year, he was close. He was way closer to Charles Shackelford than Shaquille O'Neal. That's for sure.
That was yeah. He's a free agent, right?
Who's that?
Shaq Leonard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'll tell you
he's
what.
Done. He's retired.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's even really going to look to bring him in. He looked like, he had back problems and injury problems. He looked like he was done, bro. He had nothing left.
Yep. Yep, 100%. He's done.
Yeah, but anyway, hey, listen, this time next week, it is next Monday, right? I think next Monday is the legal tampering. So we may even have rumors next week on who's signing where.
Cool.
I can't wait. So, but we'll get more into football.
Denver's releasing Russell Wilson. You see that?
Yeah.
Who could use Russell Wilson? The Raiders?
Possibly. I could see the Raiders would kind of make sense.
Minnesota?
Minnesota, maybe. Because Minnesota's trying to get a young quarterback, but if Minnesota does. Or even if Minnesota does get a young quarterback, maybe they bring Russell Wilson in as kind of like a bridge.
New England Patriots.
Patriots, I could see
New
it go.
England Patriots.
I don't know with Bill Belichick out. I feel like that team's going in a direction where they're going new quarterback. You know what I'm saying? New coach.
They want a veteran, and then they want to draft the quarterback. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'll say the Patriots.
I was going to say Mac Jones is pretty much done. I don't know where Mac Jones is going to go. They're going to get rid of him. But so who knows where he goes, but that would make sense because if the draft goes to chalk, which obviously, let's be real, it's only March. So the draft order could change drastically in the next month and a half. But right now the chalk is Caleb Williams 1, Drake May 2, and the kid Daniels from LSU 3. Now, if that's the case, if New England takes Daniels, they bring Russell Wilson in to either A, start a few games, be the bridge, or B, if Daniels is good enough to beat him out right off the bat, then Russell Wilson is there as a vet to lend a helping hand.
Right.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
$85 million in dead cap the next 2 years for the Broncos. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, ain't it?
It's sad.
That's crazy. They gotta be thinking quarterback now.
They are. They like JJ McCarthy.
They need They need a young quarterback. They can pay almost close to nothing, and that dead cap really just looks like what you're paying a quarterback to do what Russell Wilson was doing.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Paul Spencer.
JJ McCarthy had a horrible passing combine too. He was missing wide open receivers. Dude did not look great.
Yeah, I saw that. His stock looks like it took a little bit of a hit,
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't think he's going to be a high pick, but the kid from Tennessee,
Joe Milton.
Dude, he was throwing bombs on the money, like 75 yards down the field.
Like Anthony Richardson last year.
What's his name? Milton the third or something?
John Milton.
Milton, I think.
John Milton the third?
Yeah.
He was throwing bombs.
Yeah, someone will grab him late and try to because of that arm talent, someone will try to mold him into something.
The Eagles.
Paul Spencer says Joe Milton.
Yeah. Joe Milton. What rounds he can project it?
I don't think he's supposed to go to the 5th round, but maybe that changed after the combine. I don't know.
6th round.
If the Eagles took a flyer on him in the 5th round, that wouldn't be bad.
Damn right.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Although, I mean, don't forget though, we do have that kid Tanner McKee that we drafted last year. So but
also
listen,
we had Carson Strong.
Yeah.
Don't forget about him.
I'm kind of a firm believer that it's never a bad idea to take a quarterback at some point in the draft because I mean, how many times do you see one of these quarterbacks look pretty good in preseason and then you wind up flipping them for a 2nd or 3rd round pick because someone what's his name? Matt Schaub. I remember back in the day, Matt Schaub, Atlanta traded him to Houston. I think they got 2 or 3 picks for him.
Yeah.
Remember the year the Bills drafted Josh Allen, but they wanted Josh Rosen?
Oh, yeah. Josh Rosen turned out to be trash.
He was shit. Exactly. I mean, yeah.
Well, do you remember it's funny, I remember laughing on draft night in 2016 because Dallas wanted oh man, I'm drawing a blank on the kid's name. The quarterback from Memphis the one year.
Levis.
No,
Lynch?
That's it, Paxton Lynch. Yeah.
Paxton Lynch, that dude sucked, dude.
Yeah, Denver snatched him up, man.
No, I know, but what happened was though, Jerry Jones wanted to trade up for him, and Denver beat him to it. So guess what? Sometimes the best moves you make are the ones you don't make. Dallas wound up taking Dak Prescott in the 4th round, and say what you want about Dak, he's a million times better than Paxton Lynch. And
Dak Prescott ends up being a franchise quarterback. Paxton Lynch not in the league.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they got lucky there.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Paul Spencer says they have him ranked 13th quarterback in draft, late 4th, 5th round. But damn, that combine soars you fast. Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think he kind of went in. He kind of went in with it I'm gonna throw these bombs because if you notice, he was holding on to that ball, letting them receivers get deep down the field, and he was like, "I'm gonna show you how far I can throw this ball."
Oh yeah, he was leading them, and he
was holding. He was waiting. Wow. Yeah. Dude's got an arm. If you can add, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot more that goes in the defense than having an arm. You got to read the defense and all that shit, but you can't teach. That's something you can't teach. Throwing the ball far, like Mahomes.
No, that's
he scrambles. He throws the ball far. I mean, you can't teach that.
No, it's a talent. Is like you said in itself. I mean, so
yeah, but anyway, hey, look, we'll get in a lot more football talk in the next coming weeks because once free agency starts, I mean, we'll be cooking. You know what I'm saying? But another huge, which would have been the top story had Jason Kelce not retired, but the Philadelphia Phillies with a major signing today, Zach Wheeler, 3 years. What was it? 3 years, 126 averages. Averages $42 million a year. It's actually the largest extension that's ever been given per year in Major League history, I think I read.
Yes.
And definitely in Phillies history.
He earned it.
Damn right. He's a workhorse.
He earned it.
His 90 mile an hour pitch never went down, never dipped. It was steady. It was on point, and he was reliable. But like Joey said, Thompson's in-game mishaps with Kimbrel kicked our ass back-to-back games.
And I'll tell you what, Zach Wilson. Not Zach Wilson. Zach Wheeler. Excuse me. Zach Wheeler, we've been very fortunate that he's been healthy with us because he had a lot of injury problems with the Mets. But one thing is, if you have injuries out there, make sure you call my man Jason Fine. He'll get you paid. Attorney, aka Attorney Big Al, motor vehicle accident, slip and fall, workman's compensation, or personal injury claims. Like I said, Zach Wheeler. My man don't have to call Jason Fine. He don't need to make ends meet. The ends are meeting like a motherfucker for Zach Wheeler, $42 million a year. But
Zach Wilson. Now Zach Wilson might need Jason Fine's number because he's about to be out of the NFL. So
I hear you. I know. It's funny. It's funny. They're saying Zach Wilson's like looking for trades, and people are like, "Nah, we're good."
Yeah, you couldn't pay a team to take him.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Listen, I'll tell you what. Speaking of Zach Wilson, if you're trying to watch him play, man, I'll tell you what, you might, especially if he's playing at nighttime, you might want to drink some coffee. And the best coffee out there, Monkey's Cold Coffee. The evolution of flavor-infused coffee. Use the promo code OOTBS Sports at monkeycoldcoffee.com. So, make sure you check that out because it's some banging ass coffee. But anyway, Zach Wheeler, huge contract. You look at this Phillies team. Did you guys see the rumors over the weekend that the Phillies are in play possibly for a small, like 1 to 2 year deal, maybe for Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery? Although I saw that this weekend, and then I read an article today that said it's still a long shot because I think Blake Snell would cost like 2 draft pick or 10 spots in the draft, 2 draft picks or something like that, and like something like $1 million less in international signing bonus or whatever. To me, I don't give a shit. Add Blake Snell here because I'm trying to win right now. I mean, if you put Blake Snell, with
Wheeler, Nola,
and Suarez as number 4, man, you're cooking with gas, bro.
Yeah,
I hear you, but I'm not. I may want to win right now, but I feel like this team is almost in position and to win right now. I'm not giving everything 2 draft picks for Blake Snell, who might get hurt and not even play.
Yeah, but they're baseball.
He's not worth it.
I think he is. I mean, if he's healthy, I think he is because the way I'm looking at it, we got to match up in the playoffs versus the Dodgers or Braves. And we got Nola, Wheeler. Yes, they're great. But the Braves got Strider and the Braves got Chris Sale. Now, if Chris Sale is Chris Sale, then they got Max Fried too. You know what I mean? And then the Dodgers got,
Yamamoto. Glass now.
Bueller's coming back.
Bueller.
Right?
Our 4, but I put Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez up against any of those.
Yeah, I'm not.
We've seen it already.
I'm not saying I necessarily wouldn't, but I mean, but if you gave me the chance to add a guy that was on a short-term deal, if you gave me a chance to add a guy that was like, Cy Young contender last year, I think that would be a hell of an acquisition.
I hear you. What's up with this kid, Abel?
Well, he's a possibility to come up. I mean,
he can't be that far off.
Yeah,
I think he's a year or 2 away.
Still?
Yeah. Possibly a year. You never know.
I don't know.
I mean, he was pitching. What was it? I was watching an All-Star Future game, and he was pitching lights out. Maybe he comes up this year. Who knows? You know. But
yeah, see that would be kind of against. That might be an argument against getting a Blake Snell because, I mean, if Mick Abel's just about ready to come up, I mean, he's 22 years old. He's already been in the minors for a few years. I mean, if you're – I guess, it kind of goes to the argument, like, do you really – if these kids are progressing, do you really want to block them and discourage them? Like, if you're Mick Abel and you're ready for the big leagues, and then you're like, shit, I don't even have a spot. You know what I mean? Like,
bring him up.
You might want to bring the kid up,
So, like, why give away 2 draft picks if the kid's ready? Why block that and give away assets to do it?
And our farm system is very scarce and limited.
Yeah, it's not that good anyway. We need players in there.
Yeah.
All right, I'm reading it here.
Yeah.
It says Dombrowski says Painter and Mick Abel should be in the rotation next season. So that would be 2025.
Okay.
So that
So
would
maybe you would give it 1 year to Snell then.
I mean, if he would come for one, you know what I mean? But odds are it'd probably be a 2-year. But you know what though? Even if it's a 2-year, then maybe shit. If you have Abel and Painter, yeah.
It can't be a 2-year. That might be another reason too that's holding them back from giving him a 2-year, or from signing him.
I'll tell you one thing. Bryce is definitely whispering in his boy Blake Snell's ear because they had this French, like they're friends. We're childhood friends, so be it, you know. And just like you said, Diego, hopefully it is a 1-year deal, a friendly deal, you know. 2-year deal. Now you're saying like going into Painter and April's pitching. So
yeah, but you know what though? But that kind of lends into Diego's point about giving up the 2 draft picks and the 10 spots in the draft. I mean, unless you're like 100% convinced that he's going to be the difference between winning a World Series this year and not,
true,
like not want to do all that because you're making a hell of an investment just for one season. You know.
All I know, if Abel and Painter are who they're supposed to be or who we've been hearing they're going to be, our starting pitchers next year are going to be sick. Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Painter, Abel,
and you still got Taijuan Walker, who you're stuck with, and you got Christopher Sanchez.
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy. You're talking about you go from
Arsenal. Yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, true.
If Painter who he's supposed to be after the surgery.
Yeah, the only thing is though, but we're saying if a lot though. You know what I mean? Like the only thing that worries me about Painter is, you know, as good as he is, as good as he looks. I mean, look at Cisco Sanchez. I mean, he looked like Pedro Martinez a few years ago, and now my man blew up. He looks like Bartolo. He looks like he ate Bartolo Colon. The last picture I saw.
Yeah, he's eating good.
You know what I'm saying? Like my man's been eating
good in Miami.
Yeah, but I mean, Painter's still really, really young. I think Painter's going to be all right.
I hope so because he's got.
And if he hits the ceiling, he's supposed to be like a top quality pitcher in the MLB, like his ceiling, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a number 1 starter, and I think Abel's supposed to be like a 2 or 3 starter. And then you figure if Wheeler could stay a number 1 starter the next, like say 2 years out of the 4, then even if he falls off a little bit, you know, then you have, in theory, you'd have Painter being your number 1 guy. Wheeler could slide into 2 or 3. Nola could be 3 or 4, and Abel could be right there, and then you still got Suarez.
Yeah, I don't know. You might not even take a chance on if you're like Snell. I'll give you 1 year. No, I want 2. All right, man, it's not going to work into our plans.
Yeah, that's true. Because you know, you always have the possibility adding the guy. You know what? I guess if you look at it, the Phillies are sitting in a great situation because if no one else is offering him huge multi-year deals, I mean, shit, it's already spring training. I mean, when the fuck's this guy going to sign? You know what I mean? So like, I feel like the Scott Boras plan of like waiting everybody out is kind of starting to backfire on it a little bit because these teams are getting hip to this and they're like, all right, dude, we'll wait you out. And then if you're like one of these guys, you're like I know myself, if I was a pitcher, I'd be calling my agent and I'd be like, bro, it's fucking March 4th, dude. Like, I need a fucking team, dog.
Right. Spring training started.
When do you expect me to play? Like in the season, you want your arm ready. You want your arm to be live. Right. You want to get them repetitions in the innings. You know, not like you said, have a cold arm.
Yeah, because what's the worst that can happen? Imagine you're one of these guys. You sign a 1-year deal. You come to spring training, or you start the season. And like you're not even ready for it. You pitch like shit, and then next off season your market's 10 times worse.
Right.
Or you get hurt and you're shit out of luck. You come pitch later. Strain forearm, pop your elbow, you know. Yeah,
so but anyway, you know, hey, Phillies in spring training. The other thing I wanted to bring up about the Phillies too, it looks like Pache's really started off really good. It'd be interesting to see it'll be interesting. I mean, I guess that's the mark of a good team is you're pretty much set, but you have a couple last spots. I guess it's down to him or Jake Cave for that, like one of the last spots. And I mean, if he looks like the real deal, I wouldn't get rid of him. He was a top prospect a few years ago, Pash.
With the Atlanta Braves and Oakland Athletics, I say keep him up here, and I know Rojas has to work on his defense. Let him go down because they were saying which one stays, which one goes.
Rojas got to work on his offense.
Yeah, his offense. You mean?
Yeah.
Rojas got to work on his offense. Honestly, if Pache's hitting like really, really well, he's already really good in center field already.
Yeah, and defense. Yeah, he's got the wheels.
Honestly, between the two of them, it's like whichever one of you can put your bat together first gets that spot.
True.
That's what I think.
Because you could both play center already.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's going to be an interesting spring training. But we got another team that season's kind of winding down a little bit, doing a playoff push. And what a big weekend for the Philadelphia 76ers. I mean, huge win yesterday in Big D. I know we were talking about the Sixers last week, and we were hoping they would find a way to eke out a couple wins, and they did. I mean, they lost a tough one to Boston last week, but then they beat Charlotte, and huge win in Big D, man. I mean, I remember on this show last week, I was saying that it looked, I predicted us to lose, but I said that Dallas is that weird team that could lump it up, and thank God they did. Big win yesterday. What was your Diego? What was your impression on that game yesterday?
Tobias Harris showing up in the last two games. Everybody was ready to roll this guy out. He's come up big in 2 games. Tyrese Maxey had a good game. Kyle Lowry looks like he's going to play valuable minutes for the Sixers. Buddy Hield's a beast. Oubre showed up. So I think Sixers in a really good spot for Joel Embiid to come back and make a run.
Yeah. You know what I noticed? We already knew this, but Nick Nurse is just a really good coach. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game. I had my son, so I was busy running around. But some of the actions that he did, like he was running plays where he and I think it was late third quarter, early fourth quarter. He would have Batum like flashing in the middle, and he would throw it to Batum, and he would let him make a decision, and Batum would consistently find a guy open for jumpers, and they were money. And I really liked the way he designed the offense. And like you said, I know it's early yet, but I thought Kyle Lowry was a lot more done than he looks. Kyle Lowry looks like he can really give us something in the playoffs. He looks a little rejuvenated here.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely looks pretty decent. Looks in good shape. As good a shape as he can be at 38 years old. So Kyle Lowry can make a difference for the Sixers going into the playoffs.
And the real big thing is too, if the big guy comes back healthy, they're getting all these games playing without him, and then when he comes back, guys like the thing that's impressive is if we're in a tough game against, like, say, the Bucks or the Celtics or or even Cleveland, whatever. Guys like Batum and Lowry have proven playoff pedigree of making big plays and big moments, and that's stuff you can't teach. That's right. The stuff that you look at the NBA playoffs. I mean, how many of these games are decided by like a possession or two?
Well, in the playoffs,
most right?
Most of them in the playoffs.
Okay, so Kyle Lowry's a guy. He can he can take you a big charge, Batum, you throw the ball to him, he could either hit you a big shot or he passes, say Buddy Hield's wide open in the corner. He passes it over to Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield hits the big shot. I mean,
right.
These guys do the little things that could really make the difference in winning and losing. And I'm right with you, Diego. I know a lot of people out there, as soon as Embiid got hurt are kind of out on the Sixers and they're thinking, oh, same old Sixers. And believe me, I get it because I get tired of seeing Embiid hurt too. But, him getting hurt, if he could be healthy, if he could come back, give him like 4 or 5 games to ramp it up before the playoffs. And if he's healthy going into the playoffs, I'll stand on point right now. This team could beat anybody. They could go on. This team could go on a run. If the big guy's healthy, these guys are good enough to they could win the whole John.
If B comes back healthy, Sixers go into the finals.
I think they can. Although I'll tell you, Boston looks pretty damn good. But I
know. I still think Sixers go into the finals. They're healthy.
What was your impression, Sean?
Just like you guys said, I agree totally with you guys said. You need to get Embiid back in first and foremost basketball shape. You got to get Crumble Cookie Tobias Harris playing, not one game, all games on all cylinders. And I seen Mars brother that we had. Spurs released him. Would you bring him back?
I don't think we're allowed to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it's some. I forget what the timeline is, but it's because there's some NBA rule. I don't think we'd be allowed to sign him until the offseason because if that were the case, teams will be doing a bunch of underhanded shit a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Right,
like oh, we'll move you. We'll get a pick, and then like, all right, they're going to release you, then we'll just take you back. Like I don't think you're allowed to.
Almost like shady shit. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I know you said shady, but I was thinking Shake. Did you guys see Shake Milton signing with? I think he's signing with the Knicks.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Shake Milton's horrible.
Except for when he plays against the Clippers on a Sunday afternoon. I'll never forget that game, dude. He looked like George Gervin. He was doing finger rolls and all kinds of shit, bro. Remember that game?
Yeah.
I think he had like 40 on them cats, yo.
He went off. His best game ever.
Yeah.
But
rejuvenated.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, I'm not really like a LeBron fan. I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm a LeBron hater either. But I'm not a LeBron fan. But shout out to LeBron. I mean, the dude. You can say what you want about the guy, but my God, he scored his 40,000th point the other night. And,
it's unreal.
Yeah, I mean he's unbelievable. LeBron's unreal, and how about that game against the Clippers? I think the Clippers were one of the top teams in the West. I think last week they had like a 16-point lead or something. And LeBron almost single-handedly brought him back. The Lakers, that is.
Yeah, Brock is no ball. He's still a beast.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, the playoffs will be interesting this year. We'll see what happens with, Embiid, the big guy coming back. Diego, me and you were talking about this today. I'll tell you what, a lot of these teams better get their championships in the next couple years because that kid in San Antonio, my goodness, man. I mean, that kid in San Antonio, Wembanyama.
The alien.
Tell you what,
Wembanyama.
You give him a few years. You give them you add a couple young players to play with him, and maybe like a free agent signing or two, maybe 2-3 years from now, as that kid gets better, that kid's going to start winning chips, man. It's taken him like 4 months to figure out the NBA. He's unbelievable.
Watch him play. I'm telling you, he's the most talented player. He's the most talented rookie to ever come in the NBA.
Yeah, that's one that the scouts got right. I remember we were talking about the draft, and people were saying he might be the best prospect like ever in any sport. And some, we were like, I don't know about that, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm not really necessarily ready to go there necessarily yet, but the kid, if he stays healthy, the kid's going to run the league, dude.
I'm ready to go there. I'm ready to say just the couple quarters I got to watch him play and the highlights I've seen so far, he's the best rookie. He's the best rookie prospect to ever come in probably any league.
I mean,
Dude, he's 7'4". He handles the ball like he's Steph Curry. He shoots the ball like he's Steph Curry. He can block like he's Dikembe Mutombo. You know what I'm saying? He runs the floor like a guard. He can play with his back to the basket, face up to the basket, can rebound. He looks skinny, but it's not easy, skinny or not. If he could jump higher than you, he gets to the ball.
And how about all the block shots? I mean, he's blocking like 5 shots a game.
He's blocking like 5 shots a game, and sometimes his stat line has like 10 blocks.
It's unreal.
It's unbelievable. He's the best prospect to ever come in the NBA. And if he hits the ceiling that everyone says he's going to hit, he's going to be the best player ever.
I think that's next year, man. He's going to light it up. Get those players that he needs, because he's something special. Triple doubles, double doubles.
I just the only thing that stops the kid is health.
Yeah.
He's big.
And the only thing that sucks too, it's like, what does San Antonio have, like 4-leaf clovers up their ass or something? I mean, Jesus Christ. 1 year, first they get David Robinson, right?
Yep.
And then
Tim Duncan.
Then they get Duncan, and then they suck for like 8. They have that long ass run.
Ginobili.
They suck for a little while, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now let's give them this kid. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, San Antonio, it's like the fucking armpit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they always have that big the best big, one of the best. They always have a great big.
Yeah, well, listen, we'll get more. We'll touch on basketball a little more next week. Before we get out of here, though, and again, I feel like it's like sports overload this week. I mean, because another big event coming up this Thursday. We got the NHL trade deadline. Philadelphia Flyers, probably going to, everybody kind of thinks they're going to sell. Like Scott Lawton's on the trade block, possibly. Maybe Sean Walker or Sealer. Although I think they're going to keep Sealer because I think the coach came out and said how valuable Sealer is with his block shots. But then I read an article today that said that the Flyers, while they're not looking for necessarily rentals, like they could be looking at like some young forwards, or possibly a rental goalie for like a late round pick. So they may add. What do you guys think? They're going to add or buy or sell Flyers, or a little both? I think they might do a little bit of both, honestly.
I don't think they do a little bit of either. I don't think they buy or sell. I think the only way they move on from something, if it's like, it's something where you can't really refuse it, you know what I'm saying? Because it's too good. But if nothing crazy comes up, or someone's not willing to give you a really good draft pick for Scott Lawton or something like that, I don't see anything really coming about it. I think Flyers stay pat and try to make the playoffs and go forward with this team and keep letting the process build.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's the one thing is a lot of contenders really like Scott Lawton, but then again, the Flyers are a chance.
I was going to say we're in contention, so it's like if we're not going to get something that we think is going to make us better, then we're just going to keep rocking out what we got and hope we get into the playoffs and maybe have some magic.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, the one thing, I mean,
because Lawton's key. Lawton's key for this team right now.
Yeah, Lawton's actually getting more ice time than Couturier.
Yeah, Lawton's key for the squad. So I don't see us moving on from him unless it's something we can't refuse. Because I do think we are in contention and we do want to try to make the playoffs. But we're also not willing to give away assets and stuff to do that, I don't think. I think Flyers are going to stand pat.
I got you. What do you think, Sean?
I'm with you. I think we're going to do something, Somebody's going to get moved. I think I'm not sold with the goalies. That's just me. But like Diego said, you never know, though. Do we stand pat, or do we be the buyers and sellers? So I see something happening.
Well, see, I mean, the backup goalie position is the thing I'm concerned about. I mean, if they do add something, I wouldn't mind adding that. I mean, I will say this: Ersson has played mostly like a number one guy most of this year. I mean, he
got better.
So Ersson looks pretty good.
Sandstrom looked good the other day.
He didn't. Yeah, Sandstrom wasn't bad, but it wouldn't shock me if it didn't cost too much if they went out and got a guy. Maybe there's just a not a world beater, but just a solid veteran that.
Reliable backup, or
like a guy here and there, and if you're, if you on a second half of a back-to-back, if you're not 100% confident in Sandstrom, you send Sandstrom back down. You play this vet, to try to get some of these points to get you into the postseason. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So let me actually look at the Flyers. Actually got a big game tonight. They got Toronto.
They just started. They're starting right now.
I'm sorry, St. Louis.
They just started with the Blues right now.
Here, let me see the Flyers schedule right here. Because I think we have St. Louis. Yeah, so they got Flyers host St. Louis tonight, 7:00, so they're just about ready to start. At Florida on Thursday, that's a tough one. And then at Tampa Bay on Friday. I'm sorry, on Saturday. So that's a possibility of 6 points. 3 games, 6 points.
We got to get at least 4.
Yeah, I'm going to say at least 3 because if you got at Florida's one of the top teams in the league, and Tampa, you got in a big revenge game because we beat their ass last week.
6-2, yeah, 6-2.
I would like to get 4. Yeah, honestly, this tonight against St. Louis is a big one. You really got to get this win at home. So hopefully they get the 2 points tonight. And then, if they could find a way to win one of the next 2, that would give them 4. At least get to overtime and at least get one of those. You know what I mean?
At least get 3.
True.
Yeah.
The Devils fired their coach today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised about that. Hang on a second. What's this? Dave Arnold says, guess what happened to Tortilla arm?
Tortorella's arm. It's like in a sling. He had surgery on something.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I misread it. He said, guys, what happened to Tortorella's arm? Okay.
Yeah, he had like surgery on his arm or something like that.
Gotcha. I was wondering who Tortilla arm was. I was like, I was trying to think if you were talking about a picture.
Him? He has
Tortilla arm.
Tortilla.
No Mexicans on this show.
Remember Vicente Padilla with the flotillas back in the day on the Phillies?
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I'm going to say the Flyers get 3 points. I'm going to say they win tonight, and then they lose to Florida, and they lose the next 2, but somehow one of them Johns goes to overtime.
I'm going to say they get 4. They win tonight and find a way to get another win in Florida.
Nice. Okay, Sean, what do you say?
With Diego, 4. I like it.
Damn, look at me. I mean, and meanwhile, I'm the guy that just bought Flyers tickets for next year, and I'm a pessimist. You know what? Maybe I'm not trying. Maybe I'm trying to not jinx myself.
There you go.
Yeah, because like I said, I was sitting there with Diego last week at work, and I'm like, I listened to Keith Jones, and I was all flyered up. Next thing you know, I got Flyers tickets. So
Jonesy got you booked.
Yeah, well, hey man, I think they're on the uptick, bro. I think they're on the uptick, and in a couple years' time, they could be in cup contention.
Yeah. You want to have them tickets when Mizkal comes over.
Yeah, well, hopefully he comes over. Hopefully he's able to come over. In a couple years. You know what I'm saying?
We'll get him here. Money will get him here.
Yeah. Just you know what's funny? I mean, hold off on World War III for a lot of reasons, but here's one right here. Yeah, the Flyers need them, dude. Just chill.
but most of all,
Yeah,
we need you to hold off because we need Matt V. Mizkal over here.
Yeah, really. Yeah, we got hockey games to win.
Right.
I just bought season tickets. I need them here.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Yeah, otherwise I'll be wiping my ass with them Johns.
Right.
Here's one real quick before we get out of here too. Forrester, man, shout out to Forrester.
Yeah.
I mean, he's on fire, dude. He's
on fire.
I think he's got 16 goals. He's second among rookies in goals behind Connor Bedard.
Yeah, he's sick. He can play. He can really shoot the puck.
Kid's got a great shot. I mean, you look, even before the Russian kid comes over, you look at the young talent the Flyers got between Tippett, Forrester, you got Farabee,
Frost.
and then you got TK Konecny. You know what I'm
Frost.
saying? Who?
Frost.
Oh, and Frost. Yeah, Frost is decent too. He's a good playmaker. So, The one they really could use a young, dynamic center iceman. You know what I mean? They could use another young, like 23, 22, 23-year-old playmaking center that's like offensive. I don't know where they're going to find it.
Well, they just signed some kid. Well, they gave him a 3-year extension, entry-level extension. Barkley.
Yeah, they picked him in the draft. He was
third rounder, but he's shredding it in the OHL.
Yeah,
it's like second in the league in points.
Yeah, he's supposedly he's kind of a sleeper. He's a much better prospect, I think, than where they picked him. So
I think he's a much better prospect than what he's turning out to be a really decent player.
Yeah. So, but anyway, hey, I guess we'll get ready to wrap up here. Go Flyers, go Sixers, go Phillies. Maybe we'll have even more news next week on who the Phillies can sign. And next Monday we'll be back with first day illegal tampering, and who knows? Maybe we'll have some rumored breaking Eagles moves.
Amen.
Yeah, we'll see what it is.
So, all right, fellas. All right, everybody out there, have a great week and have a good one. Peace.
Hey guys.